Well, hi, everybody. She's back. I hope you're all doing great out there and not too stressed over this election. I keep telling myself that no matter how it turns out, we really have no control over it except to urge everybody we know to get out and vote. And like I say, vote blue no matter who, and get out there and vote in such numbers that it's so big they can't rig it. Uh, I Today's Halloween. When I was a little girl, it used to be one of my favorite days. But not like my daughter. My daughter that came out here to visit it, that's her biggest holiday. She absolutely loves it. She was buying Halloween rugs for my house and doing all kinds of neat stuff when she was here. She was such a joy. And my other daughter's a joy too. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky, so blessed to have such beautiful children and my son. But it's so nice to have, you know, to have their help through life at this time. I can't imagine life without them. And I just can't imagine it. But anyway, I wanted to say hi to y'all out there, and I hope you're hanging in there. I know I can't even watch corporate news for 5 minutes. I did watch Ari Melber today because I knew that stuff was coming out about what happened at the Pelosi house. And we all need to send out prayers for them. Even if they're not your most favorite politician, this is wrong. It's terrible. Any kind of violence anywhere is terrible, but in our politics like this, it's absolutely unforgivable. And we know who let that cat out of the bag. But then I can't help but wonder if maybe it's from all the movies. I mean, when you see all these Republicans doing their ads with their guns and all this kind of shit, is it just because they've grown up on media that's... I know, coming from the 50s, I was so glad when media loosened up. I was so glad when Mel Brooks, what was that, where they had all the cowboys and stuff? I thought that was so funny and so great to be able not to be... like they used to, trying to think of the name for it, where they went and took everything out of the movies. Everything was screened so heavy. But now I'm wondering if even the people that are in the Senate up to 40 and 50, if they were raised on that stuff where there is no reality to them. I don't know what's going on with them. I could see that in people maybe that didn't get to have a good education, didn't learn when they were young the difference between cause and effect. But for people to think that something like that could be all right, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine at all. Especially people in our government. It is, we've really gone downhill. And I try not to hold a grudge against Trump for opening all this can of worms open. Because the worms were there, he just let them all out. And he not only let them all out, he praised them and told everybody how beautiful these worms were. And I try not to have bad feelings for him, but it's almost impossible sometimes. And I can't really say I'd be unhappy if not violence or sickness or even death, but if everything else happened to that family, to take them down low enough and below where everybody quit worshiping them. Gee. I'm going to take just a little and go get my other book that I read off of last time we did this. I was a little bit doing that with my daughter. I was a little bit displaced. I want to ask on them again, and I also got my Pendulum out. And if anybody wants the personal readings, I have a lot of openings. I do need to go through and dump email because I got so much, but I'll just start on anything that comes in after today for new appointments. But I've got an empty schedule this next week. Well, it's not really empty. I've got a lot of readings for the next 2 days, and then after that it opens up. But if anybody would like a reading, I'd really appreciate them to get a hold of me at lynntarotreadings@gmail.com. lynntarotreadings@gmail.com. I really need to get to work, and my rent's went up $50 a month just all at once, which is a pretty big raise for senior citizens. But anyway, I'll be right back. So she's back. Oh, gee. I really do hope you're all doing great. And remember, that's lynntarotreadings@gmail.com if you'd like a personal reading. And so let me look at what I've got written down here. Hoping and praying. I don't know what it is, but I just have faith in the American people that they're not going to let this happen, that they're paying more attention than it appears, and they just come out, like Linda said, like ants, and get rid of all this crap. I really want to see it look like a tsunami, because anything less than that, and they're going to just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. You know how literally evil they've gotten. I can't see calling it anything but evil. I think it's evil when people treat people the way that the Republicans are treating what should be their peers, and what should be people that they're working with to help in our government. They're just trying to take our government down. That's all they're working on. Let me see what I got here. And like Charles Booker and Ron Paul, the Democrats, what was it I heard? They donated $175, not $1,700 or anything like that, but $175 to Booker's race against Ron Paul. And Booker has the chance to beat Ron Paul if he'd had some money behind him. I hope the hell that he does anyway. I'm gonna do on them. I think I skipped over that last time by accident. But and the one in charge of that, I know we're all praying for him and rooting for him, and it doesn't mean I don't pray and root for him, but the one behind that is like Nancy Pelosi, the people that pull the strings on the money in the Democratic Party. There's 2 or 3 different places where the Democrats have put some money behind some of these young progressive people that are running against some of these Republicans. It could have been a changed race, but they're more terrified of giving up 1 ounce of their power than they are terrified of us losing our democracy. I swear. They just don't want anything to change in their head. On one side, they don't want anything to change, and on the other side, they think that it's going to stay like it was 20, 30 years ago, and not admitting, because they've been there so long, and then they're in that groove, they can't even see what's really going on. And anyway, it's just sad to see this when they've all worked together. Just because they get more progressives in there doesn't mean that they all of a sudden have to give up all their power. In fact, it would take a whole bunch more progressives. But I think it would even make everything a little better for us, for what they would be pushing, for it be more for the people, but instead of for the corporations. But anyway, that's what's going on with that. That's why there's no money. But a lot of these people that maybe could have got booted out of office on the Republican side won't go because there was no money put up against it with the Democrats running against him, because the Democrats themselves are more worried about losing their control of the Democratic Party than they are winning this race. But let's not talk bad about the Democrats, not right now. I'm not talking bad about them. There's no comparison. The Republicans aren't even a member of the United States as far as I'm concerned. So there is no why some of these cards are upside down. There is no comparison. We have to vote Democrat. Like I said, vote blue no matter who. And that's hard for me to say. There would have been a lot more good people in there to go up against these guys if there had been some money put up for them in the primaries, and it wasn't put up because they were so terrified that maybe somebody progressive might get in there. Even putting up people that were against abortion rights over people that were other Democrats that were running. But it is what it is, and it's a done deal now, so we'll just have to see how it's going to turn out. And I just hope that everybody prays for, I guess his name's Paul Pelosi, and the whole family, and that he gets well. And I don't know. Maybe if the Dems do get in there, they can change some laws. Maybe they can come up with something to make it where you're, I don't believe in the death penalty, so that couldn't be what it would be, but something for messing with So the first question I'm going to ask is, I keep hearing on all, even though I'm not watching it, I watch YouTube, but so you get blurts of it when you're watching other things on YouTube. All the corporate news can talk about is how far ahead the Republicans are. Don't pay any attention to them because they're not. I'm telling you that right now, they're not. They're not ahead. And I've even heard them saying on CNN that early voters were mostly Republicans. Now, I don't know where they're getting that from, but I think it's a bald-faced lie. And so, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this was working so good for me the other day. Let's see if it's going to work for me now. I was going to put a yes and no in front of me, but I'm just going to ask it, because it seems to work better for me. Let me make a yes and a no page. It seems to work better for me when I have a pendulum and I'm asking this stuff, if it's written down. Because then you can double check yourself, and I'll show you how. Because I use my pendulum sometime, believe it or not, to fill my ballot out with. Not that I don't do research, but on some of the judges and stuff. And some of them, I'll say, should I vote for these? And I put it over yes, and it comes up no. And then I put it over no, and it comes up yes, which means no, don't vote for them. So, and it's amazing how quick it changes, just moving it from one to the other. So I noticed that while I was filling out my ballot on some of the judges and stuff, wondering what and who and where to vote for them. So the ones that didn't have any political affiliation, supposedly, if they did, it wasn't in any of the information. So let's see. Early voters. Is this mostly Democratic votes? So I'm going to use the pendulum here and see what it does. Big yes. Now I'm going to move it over here to no. Democratic voters are the early voters. Got a straight no. I love this thing. I've had this thing for years, but I always use the other one. But this is just a cheap little pendulum that I got. I maybe don't like that. I moved it up and it went squirrely on the. But it's a cheap little pendulum I've had for years. I think I got it at Sedona about 40 years ago. So yeah, the early voters are mostly Dems, definitely, from what the pendulum says. And then my friend Mark Rhodes wanted me to ask election night, will we see I've got Dems win. Of course, we're going to see some Dems win. I think he wanted to know if it was going to be finalized, if we'd know enough about it to know whether they did a sweep or not. So we could ask that. I'm going to ask it with the pendulum. So on election night, come and help me, Rennie. On election night, are we going to be able to see before we go to bed that the Dems are ahead, are winning, or called winners in these races? So I'm going to put it over yes. And I'm getting a no. And then I'm going to put it over no. Are we going to see the Democrats are winners on election night? And I'm getting a yes on no. So I know the Democrats are going to win. I don't have it. So I'm asking the wrong question as far as I'm concerned. Well, let's ask the opposite one. I don't want to. On election night, are we going to see that the Republicans won? No on yes. Looks like we're not going to see nothing on election night. Here on no. On election night, are we going to see that the Republicans won? Yes on no. So no, we're not going to see who won on election night. It doesn't matter who gets ahead, who takes it, or what's going on. We're not going to see it on election night. That's what Mark wanted to know. Well, we know something on election night, I guess would have been the best way to. But the way I asked it, it came out just perfect. So this is going to take the cards. He asked me to, and by the way, I want to thank Mark Rhodes because he helps me come up with questions. Sometimes he knows I just get so baffled I don't want to do a video because I don't know what to ask. And he always comes through for me, bless his heart. He's just a little angel, and he's always cheering me on, and he's just so sweet and such a nice person, and he's always getting me, he's my cheerleader. I really don't know if I'd still be doing this last couple of years if it wasn't for him. When I told myself that nobody wants to hear from me, he comes through and says, yeah, you got to make a video, and he's just... he's one of my favorite people in the world. You're never too old to make new friends. We've only been friends about 3 years, but I feel like I've known him forever, and he's part of my family. So anyway, the question is, he said the best way to ask this is how in December and January, how are the Dems feeling? That seems a strange question, but I think I can do a big. In December and January, how are the Dems feeling? Oh, gee. I know this noise bothers some people, but I forgot my pad I usually put under them today, and so it's just going to have to be noisy. Okay, how are the Dems feeling? Looks like this is my card for Biden. Looks like he's feeling pretty darn good. All their ducks in a row. I think that's new legislation that they're... Oh, I love this. I love the way you had me ask that too, Mark. That's great. So this is Biden. This is getting everything in a row that they want to pass and what they want to pass first. And them having the people in there to do it. These are great cards. Great cards. So then I'm going to ask the question again about, should have done that, do that with a pendulum, but let's try it with cards first. Is, who's going to take the House and the Senate? Then we need to do them separately, I'm sure. Let's start with the House first. That's the one that's up for grabs more so than the Senate. It looks like the Dems have the Senate no matter what. And that's another thing I want to say. If people are too lazy to go vote, not paying enough attention to what's going on to realize what a threat that our country's having on it right now, because believe it or not, democracy is a participation sport. If you don't participate, you don't have democracy. And so if something happens that we do give it all away, I guess it was our karma and something we're going to have to deal with, and it's going to be absolutely horrible before it's through. But let's see. Who's going to win the House? Who's going to win the House? Well, we're not going to know right away, that's for sure. But it's a good card. Blocked. And the devil. Well, no matter how bad they want to announce it, they're not going to be able to because it's going to be blocked. And this is like a horrible fight. A lot of people not accepting the results. But this is the strength of the Democratic Party coming through. And this is the gift from heaven. And this is the Wheel of Fortune. So it looks like we're going to get power. I'd say it's power coming. Wheel of Fortune, gift from God, the strength, after overcoming the devil, and them trying to block our win. Now let's see, I'm going to put these back in here and draw for the Republicans. Should remember what I will. Should have kept those out instead of putting them back in here, because that way I would have should be using two different decks of cards and I wouldn't have to do this. Okay, so it looks like they had a good shot at it. really good shot at it. They were going to try to block him after the election when the announcements came out. But it looked like it was going to get straightened out because the strength card came through. So let's see. This is for the repubes, as Mel says. Got the King of Swords upside down, so they're not as strong as they think they're going to be. Patience. We're going to have patience. Well, why? Because they're fighting it. Well, they're lying, putting force through. They're trying to be forceful. They're trying to be... A lot of them are worried about going to jail. Why this means so much to the Republicans, they need to take power to stay out of trouble. They think they can block all these lawsuits and stuff if they take power, but let's see. They're going to be disappointed. Here's another upside down card. It's not going to be what they think. And I'm going to draw a clarifier on the Magician here because it's like they try to, smoke and mirrors us. This is smoke and mirrors. They're not going to accept their defeat. This is not accepting it. And this is the Democrats taking over the House and the Senate. The House. This is the House. There's going to be a big fight over it. There's going to be a big fight over it. But they're not going to have any proof. We're going to get upset because we have to wait. Then truth is coming through. A lot of them are afraid that this might mean the death of their careers, not just the death of their being in charge of the House and Senate. They're going to be very disappointed. And no amount of screaming, yelling, or pulling strings is going to help. And then here's the payoff. Yeah, they're not going to get it. They're not going to win the House, the Senate. This is the Senate. Okay, I'm being told not to straighten any more up. And there's something upside down. It's supposed to be now. Okay, this is the Senate. And we're going to do Dems first. Well, we got the Six of Swords. And we're going to have to be really careful because they're going to try to turn justice upside down. But that's all right because the Dems are going to win in the courts. Anything taken to court, the Dems are going to win it. We got the Queen here, and this is for this. Oh, this is for the Democrats. Okay, so that's Pelosi then. She's still in charge. Looking for getting new laws passed. And going forward. I would call these winning cards. I'm going to leave these out, though, at least, and use another deck so I can compare them. So this is the Democrats. It may start out looking like they're behind a little bit. And then when they win, they're going to try to turn justice on its ear, the Republicans are. But they're going to lose in court. I mean Senate. I'm sorry, I mean Senate. So this is, well, that's the side for the Dems. Now let's look at the Republicans. Well, they're trying to spread a lot of bullshit. It's upside down. It's not going to work. And we got the Fool. They're going to be surprised when they don't take it. That's what I'm saying. They're going to be trying to celebrate ahead of time, saying they took it, even though they know they've lost. Some woman judge or something comes in to help sort this out. Before it's all over, we may be getting help from the heavens. I don't know. It shows like a intervention from above. And the Ace of Cups. I don't know. I can't tell from these cards. The verse shows just the first card show because it's upside down shows all kinds of disappointment. Then it shows foolishness, which would probably be all the crap they'll be spitting out. Then there's the Three of Cups, which is like a small victory. I got the Queen of Cups. And you know there's nothing loving about him, so I don't know if that's some woman taking over or what. I got this woman, and I think it's a lawyer or a judge or something. And then we got intervention from above. And justice coming through. We got the Ace of Cups. To me, that's what's morally right for the country. So I don't know, people. I can't tell you from the cards. What's going on? It's about 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, so it may still be up in the air. It may not be. It may be closer than I think it is, because I think it's a done deal that the Dems are going to win. It's my feeling, and it could be because I want it so bad. I want it so bad because it means so much to me for us to keep our democracy. So So I don't know. I'm going to use the pendulum for that and see what it says. I may have already. That may be the first thing that I use the pendulum on. I'm telling you, I get doing this and my head just leaves me. Yeah, it did that. It said we would see the Dems win. Or not, we wouldn't see anybody win, that it would be a while after that. It says that the Dems were going to be feeling good in December and January, which would mean they won. So let's just quit harping on that because it looks like I'm not getting through. I don't know who's running against Grassley. Chuck Grassley. I'm going to do a full pull on him. Let's just see. Is he gonna win his race? How's Chuck Grassley feeling in December? That's how Mark told me to ask this. By then, all the big fights should be over. Close calls should be sorted out. So how's Chuck Grassley feeling in December? Pull my glasses up here. So how's Chuck Grassley feeling in December? Chuck Grassley. Chuck Grassley. How's he feeling in December? Chuck Grassley. Had people getting a hold of me and asking me to read on him and see if he was going to win or not. Chuck Grassley. How's he feeling in... Feeling poor? Because he's damn sure not giving money out to the poor. So the signifier is the poor card. And the obstacle over it's the Queen of Pentacles. I wonder if there's a woman running against him. Does anybody know? Two of Wands is the foundation. Looks like he's making new plans. New beginnings. He's back home. Look at this. I don't know why we got a small money card. I mean, he's got enough money put back to lasting 10 lifetimes, I'm sure, especially since he's as old as I am or older. But here's a smaller money card, making less money. So that looks like he's going to lose. In the 7th house, we got the Death card. That's right on top of him. So he's through in the Senate, I'd say. Well, this is for the Senate. We won't call it on health, but that's... He's through. Secrets revealed. The energy around that. His Wheel of Fortune totally turns. That's the energy around the reading. He's getting booted out right underneath the Fool. And he'll be lucky if he stays out of jail. He don't get caught up in some of this court stuff. Wasn't he the one that said he was going to be presiding over the Senate because the vice president wasn't going to be there? So maybe he's going to end up in... if he lives through it, he might end up in a lot of trouble over January 6th. Is the best way to put it. I was trying to think of what that would be. He might end up getting indicted because he's going to be in a different place. Feel a lot poorer. Some woman, it looks like, is going to take his place. I'd be amazed if it's a woman running against him. Going to be making plans, thinking that he was really foolish back at his house, making less money, and very ill health. Secrets coming out about him. His whole world is changing because the law's after him. So that's Chuck Grassley. So I would say yes, he's going to lose. it looks like he's definitely going to lose for the people that were text messaging me and asked me to read on him. So I don't even know what state he's from. I know I've never been able to stand him, but anyway, right now I just can't think of it off the top of my head. And I want to do Rand Paul in Kentucky, but I did want to say something. Rand Paul's running against this Charlie Booker. And from what I understand, I might have already said this, but that was where the Democratic Party didn't put any money into Charlie Booker's race. That's all they gave him. And if he has enough backing, he could beat Ron Paul. So let's see. Will Booker win the race in Kentucky against Ron Paul? Will Booker win the race in Kentucky against Ron Paul? I'm going to do 3 down each side. The Democrats on the left and the Republicans on the right. The Democrats on the left and the Republicans on the right. Same deck of cards. See what comes up out of here. Hope there's enough light where you can see me. It seems like it's dark in here, but maybe it'll work better. Okay. Democrats. Bird of Paradise. Winners. Been in control. I'd say I shouldn't even draw any more cards. These are going to be hard cards for them to beat. Republicans. Looks like Ron Paul's leaving. Looks like Booker will definitely win. Biden beat him. Still hollering that they got screwed. There's no concession on this, even though the Dems beat them. They have to leave because the Dems beat them, and there's no concession. He'll be hollering just like Trump 2 years from now that he won that election. A little Brillo head asshole. I was going to be nice. I'm sorry. Shouldn't talk about how people look, especially when you're my age. Oh Lord, that's why I haven't wanted to do another video. I wanted to be nice. I wanted to be like all the other readers and come out. And I didn't have anything nice to say to keep my mouth shut, but it's so hard, especially when these people come out. Like I say, regardless of what, of maybe not being the most, Nancy Pelosi not being my favorite politician, I just cannot believe that her family got hurt. It's just blowing my mind. So don't forget to pray for them. And I really feel like it's all the Republicans' fault. So what have we got next? What's McConnell? From Mark again. What's McConnell feeling like in? He had me write it down. In January. What's McConnell? That's when they're going to take over after this. What's McConnell doing in January? What's Mitch McConnell doing in January? He said that's a better question than who wins because everything's going to be up in the air and they're going to be fighting against stuff. So, yeah, let's see. What's Mitch McConnell feeling like in January? In January, what's Mitch McConnell feeling like? Well, he's holding his money close. Why would he be holding his money close? He's got so much he couldn't even hold it close. because he's made some kind of deal. Maybe the deal is he's going to slip out of the Senate, but he wants to. Couldn't. Because of some kind of deal. He's holding his money close. This is in January. Wow. I don't think he's in on any of this stuff, but is he worried about going to jail? Is that why he was making a deal? Like if he goes, he don't have to answer any questions? It's over some, I feel like it's an older connection with Russia. Something to do with Russia. Taking money that he knew. Stealing money from the people. Maybe this is that to do with that plant that Russia was supposed to put in Kentucky, where he was, what kind of plant was that? A tin, not a tin plant, an aluminum plant? There's something fishy. Something's coming to the surface about him, too. They're not going to have enough prosecutors to prosecute all these people if they prosecute them. Yeah, so this is home. It's something to do with his home state. This is the law, hot and heavy after him, coming down on him, indictments. That's the energy around this. Something to do with his home state. Because of lies and secrets. He's not feeling very good. Let me draw one more clarifier. We got the hanged man for the outcome. They'll make him some kind of offer so he can pay his way out of it. But this is for Mitch McConnell in January. Holding his money close because of some deal he made. Worried about going to jail over this deal. It has something to do with Russia, which I think is maybe that aluminum factory or something they were going to put in Kentucky or something to do with that. Losing his power, showing a theft to the small people. Some kind of underhanded deal that he was putting through Kentucky. The law coming after him, secrets coming out. He delays it for a while, and then he deals his way out of it. He makes an offer, he gives information, he does something to get out of it. But he's not good. But I don't think this is him in the Senate. Looks like he will be gone and not very happy and not very well either in those cards. So, who did we do next on here? Well, that would kind of be a yes or a no, but it's my friend Mark wanted to know if Republican women were going to vote Democratic once they get in the ballot box. Is that going to happen because of Roe v. Wade? If I get a yes card right off the top, that's all we'll do is just one card. Or if I get a no card. I can't imagine them not voting Democrat once they're in that. Nobody can tell them what to do once they're in there filling their ballots out. Unless they're told to take a picture of them or something. If they're that much ruled by their husband, they need to run away anyway. So, let's see. Are Republican women going to vote Democratic once they're in the box because of Roe v. Wade? Well, a lot of them are thinking about it. It's like their one last chance to hold on to any freedom. This is the foundation. It looks like a yes coming on. Maybe a deal they made with other women. something they worked hard. Maybe there's even some kind of underground railroad on this. Somebody in charge of this. This is a bigger thing than, I thought this was kind of a silly thing to ask, but there's more going on behind. It shows them being pushed out in the cold. Strength in numbers. That's their hopes. I don't know. I can't tell from these cards. Here we go again. The question, are they going to vote Democrat once they get? I just can't tell from these cards. It looks like they're offering to vote one way. Even got a little bit money behind voting a different way. Then we got the sunshine. Then we got the deals being made. So that's where I thought, well, there's more energy going into this than I thought. Then we got a lot of hard work. Some woman being in control. Maybe to keep them where they're not out in the cold, where they have more influence, and they're not going to have any of if they don't have any control over their bodies. And even some of them that are going along with this farce know that on some level. Really taking a hard look, coming forward with strength, and cutting themselves off. Cutting themselves off. I'm going to draw a clarifier. The cutting themselves off card. Yeah, it's going to make the ballots look really weird. Well, enough of them are going to do it where it's going to make the ballots look weird, because it's going to look like a lot of votes that should have been Republican end up being for Democrats. But it's just going to be a real effed up election when people start studying the outcome and how people voted and where they voted and what they voted on. So it might look more screwed up than it is, which will be more for the Republicans to complain about. Well, here's a good one. Will Trump be indicted? I should have probably moved this closer to me, because before they were having trouble hearing me. I never even thought about moving the mic closer. Will Trump be indicted on November 9th or right after? Because we know he's going to get indicted eventually. Is it coming up quick right after the election? Will Trump be indicted on November 9th or right after? Will Trump be indicted on November 9th or right after? So let's just look at this Trump in November, I guess is the best way to do this. This is Trump in November. Trump in November. These cards are for Trump in November. We might as well do a full layout, as much as I hate to go into his problems. Trump in November. And we're in November, but Trump for this month. Chariot fell out. Maybe he'll be looking for a place to run. Let's see. Trump in November. Temperance. Is that temperance card there for me or him? Judgment. Coming right down on his head. Okay, don't get anxious. It's coming. That's what it's saying. It's coming. He knows that he deserves this. We're doing Trump. He knows that he stole those papers. Knows that that's espionage, treason. This is Merrick Garland. This is for straight out theft. I think this is definitely on the papers from Mar-a-Lago. Thinking of places to go, but he may have waited too long because he's really getting worried. Seriously getting worried about losing his control over what happens to him. Tries to make some kind of deal. Really is depleting his assets, even though he's got lots of assets. They're really being depleted in a hurry. We got the King of Pentacles upside down, and that's also in this deck. I call it, it's the double Chariot card for me. So is money being depleted in a hurry? That would be an indictment. The environment around this is the people thinking it's a winning situation. So is that the environment around him or the environment from the public when this happens? Maybe he just thinks he's got a winning situation. Maybe he's still under the delusion that no matter what, he's going to win. And that's what the people close to him are telling him. His world is upside down as he knows it. And High Priestess. A lot of information coming out to the public that we didn't know about. This always comes from him, that there's got judgment right on his tail, but let's see. This is some woman taking him down. I don't know. Who's going to get him first? We asked about indictments and asked how he was feeling. Maybe more than one indictment. Does this mean there's more than one indictment? Yeah, his fortune is changing. Look at this. So, this is telling us not to get in a big hurry. But judgment is coming in November for theft. And this looks like Garland, so I'm pretty sure it's theft of the records. This is him thinking about he wishes he could get out of town. This is him trying to make a deal. But he's too late. He doesn't get to leave in a hurry like he'd like to, because in his own head, he still thinks he's a winner. His world will be totally upside down before the end of the month. I don't like to do timestamps. That's what I keep telling Mark. Don't ask me things about time. But there's all kinds of secrets being revealed. So I have a feeling this is more than one indictment. That this is maybe Fonnie Willis or something. This is 2 indictments. And his whole world is going to be upside down. So I'd say, yeah, that he gets indicted this month. This next month. This is the last day of October. So it looks like in November he will be indicted. And the other one he wanted me to ask, will the Clarence and his crazy wife Jenny be indicted? Maybe eventually. I don't think so. Let's see. Will Clarence or Jenny Thomas be in trouble with the law? Is the best way to ask, I guess. I don't think Thomas is going to ever be in trouble with the law. But he might end up getting out of the Supreme Court because of his wife. Think so? So let's see. Will the Thomases be in any trouble? And if so, when? Upside down again. Jenny Thomas. What's going on with her in January and February? Let's do it that way. Let's not even read on Clarence. I think he's untouchable. They'll have to prove it to me if they're going to mess with the Supreme Court. They're such meek little mouses. Don't get me wrong, they're better than the Republicans, but maybe they'll get more strength if they take the House and the Senate. So let's see. Jenny Thomas. What's going on for you in January and February? Secrets revealed. So there's more shit coming out about her. A bunch more stuff coming out about her for that to be the whole card. She's going to be going away, and I don't think she's going away to jail, maybe just out of the picture. That would mean that her husband was resigning. Going away fast. Maybe they're going to decide they need to get out of there and out of politics and out of the center of this as fast as they can. Something to do with some female prosecutor. They may not be able to leave as quick as they want to. Look at this. I figured as long as she just got out of the way and took him with her that they'd let it go. But this is something hanging it up where they don't get to leave as quick as they want to. This is news coming out. A bunch more news. She might have proof even that her husband's right in the middle of this. Still trying to rule with power instead of reason, where her head's coming from and his. Getting cut off from friends, getting justice coming down on her. Afraid that they can't pull this out of a hat. And this is more law coming down on them. So this is the law. So I think the question is how will she be feeling? And I felt like it's just that she was going to leave and get out of there quick and get all the pressure off of her husband too. Here's 2 quick getaway cards before things got hot. But here's some female prosecutor. She don't get to get out of there and away from this like she thinks she's going to, because there's so much news coming out that the hammer gets lowered on her head. And here's Michael here with his justice. And they're not going to be able to talk or walk or do anything their way out of this, because here comes like big justice like Merrick Garland. So yeah, she's going to get caught up in the middle of this some way, even though they try to get out of it. This all sounds too good to be true to me, but that's what it's saying. Let's see if there was any more, because I know this thing just seems to be going on and on and on and on and on. So I really can't tell you nothing, people. I can read the cards on it and see how they come up, and some of them were kind of scary because it was hard to tell. But anyway, I'm going to try to edit this and get it out. And I wish y'all just take a deep breath. And you have to realize, outside of voting and getting everybody you can out there to vote, that's so important to vote. There's not much more you can do, I guess. I have a friend that's working at where the ballots are being counted, election, whatever they call them, is volunteering to help with elections. All we can do is cross our fingers and pray, and hope that the people in America are awake enough to know what's going on and to make sure they come out and vote in this election. I know for the ones that aren't paying attention, they hear every election is the most important one, especially the last 2 or 3 years. But this really is, and I hope it dawns on them. I hope they're watching politics to know enough that our country's gonna need them. So anyway, I love you all, and I hope I didn't Whatever. Go on too long. I was worried what I was going to say when I sit down here, and then I haven't shut up for over an hour, so I'm going to have to cut some of this out of there. But if I do, I do. So I just want to tell everybody good night, and I love you, and thank you. If you're still watching me after all these years, be sure and hit subscribe and thumbs up and help me out here. And thank you for watching. Namaste.